All right, I want to make a short video on picking metrics and setting goals. I think people suck at picking metrics because they tend to pick metrics that they can't impact. I think people suck at setting goals because when they set goals, once you accomplish those goals, there's no forward momentum past. Let's define metrics, let's define goals. In particular, I want to define process goals versus outcome goals, and I want to define leading metrics versus lagging metrics. And let's focus on metrics first, because this is the first example. At Facebook, we're basically taught that there are two kinds of metrics, leading metrics and lagging metrics. And it is often the case that the lagging metric is the one you really care about. For example, if I want to gain weight or lose weight, my weight is the metric. But here's the problem. Your weight is very easy to measure because you just have to stand on a scale. But once you know that number, you can't do anything about it. Like revenue or like daily active users. Every day you can count the number of users, but that affects basically nothing. It doesn't affect retention. It does not affect engagement. It does not impact churn. Knowing the metric does not do anything. But everyone knows this, right? Everyone knows that you can't change your weight by weighing it. So what do you do? What you do is you figure out how much you eat, right? You can work out more. But those are not necessarily metrics. The metric in this case, the leading metric, the one that pushes you in the direction of your goals in this situation could be a couple of things. It could be total calories consumed. It could be total calories burned. And the difference between a leading metric is that is a little bit harder to measure. Maybe you put a smartwatch on. Maybe you are weighing your food and counting calories. It's harder to measure, but you can always measure what you have right now and ask yourself, is it where it needs to be to hit my lagging metric? If my personal trainer says I need to burn 500 calories and I need to eat 3,000 calories, at any given moment in time, I can ask myself, how many calories am I at? How much more do I need? How many calories have I burned? How much more do I need? And then you get to a place where you go, okay, I only burned 200 calories today. And if I want to hit my lagging metric goal of weight loss, I need to do 300 more calories. And it gives you a thing to do. That's the difference. And in this situation, I've conflated the goal of weight loss with the lagging metric of your current weight. And so I also want to give some examples of how we can change these metrics to goals. So obviously the goal could be to lose 5 pounds, etc., etc. But again, what we learn is that losing 5 pounds is a dumb goal, because this is, in the same way we don't want to set goals against lagging metrics, a goal against a lagging metric is called an outcome goal. And they're dumb because what's the most common thing that happens at the end of weight loss programs? You gain them back up. The goal of losing 10 pounds is often met with some kind of emptiness at the end of that goal, and then you go back to your ways because you've done some crazy things, because you're setting goals against these outcomes rather than the process. Whereas the process might just be, oh, I want to go on a 10-minute walk every day. I'm going to measure how many steps I take on a daily basis. And if it's not enough steps, my goal is to just get those number of steps. And again, by having this leading metric, by having this process goal, you don't need to really even think about what the outcome is. Because you know that if you just do the thing every day, you'll hit the goal. If you just run a mile every day based on your current situation, chances are you'll probably lose some weight. For me, my main goals are gaining weight. So I could, for example, just always count my calories, or I can just say one of my big goals is just always have a heavy smoothie or something like that. And so it's really important to set these process goals, because these are the things that you can actually, 1, measure, 2, know the direction you need to change that metric, and 3, be able to do that on a consistent basis. Another really popular example of a process versus outcome goal is something I do in pottery. I think when you start out in pottery, you have these grand ideas of, I want to make a kitchen set. I want to make some cups for my friends and some bowls and some plates. And I want to make 6 things because I have 6 friends. And what you basically learn is that when you have goals against the things you make, 1, when you don't accomplish those goals, you feel like shit. Like maybe you make 6 cups and you realize you don't like 2 of them. You're like, fuck, I didn't do what I wanted to do. On top of that, you hold things too preciously. And one of the best advice that my pottery sensei taught me was, dude, stop trying to make things. Your only job is to go through clay. Instead of saying at the end of every session, I want to make 6 things, and you just said, at the end of every session I want to go through 20 pounds of clay, I can always go through 20 pounds of clay. Whether I keep anything doesn't fucking matter. In the same way, I will always go for a walk after we eat because that's the process goal, because these are the leading metrics. The leading metrics in this case is the pounds of clay or the steps I took or the calories I consume. They say nothing about the outcome, but chances are when you optimize your process metrics, you can really learn how to tune these knobs to figure out how to accomplish your outcome metrics. But at the end of the day, once you hit these outcomes, you know what you do tomorrow. Once I've made all the things for my friends, once I've made every bowl I wanted to make for every single person I promised a bowl to, tomorrow when I go to the studio, some pounds of clay. Those are the best successful people. Like a common example is like the UFC fighter. They wanted to become champion and then they win and then they get depressed because they're not fighting anymore. Whereas the most successful champions are just like, hey, congrats on the belt. What do you do tomorrow? Like, oh, go train. Like they have process metrics. Turns out if you just train consistently for many years, you have a good shot of being really good at the thing you do. But if your goal is just to be good at the thing you do, holy shit, how do you get there? Very unclear. You might want to make more money or have a certain revenue target. And every time I've had a revenue target, once I hit it, it's fucking depressing. Because once you hit that metric, what do you do the next day? You just gotta work. But now my process metric is for every client I get, I want to increase my fees by 10%. If I want to make $1 million, I just gotta get 9 more clients. How to get 9 more clients? I need to send out 10 emails because every time I send out 10 emails, one of them receives it. So if I want 9 clients, I just got to send 90 emails. Or maybe it's the case that every time I do a podcast, I get 3 clients. And so if I want to get 9 clients, I got to do 3 podcasts. How do I do 3 podcasts? I got to send 30 emails because the emails convert to the podcast. And you have so much control over what you want to do. And every single day, you know exactly what you have to do. I have to do cold outbound. I have to do marketing. And these are the things that drive processes that generate me more revenue. But I don't wake up and think, oh, I want to make $1 million a year anymore. Because that, like, 1, so what? Who gives a shit? Like, how are you going to get there? And 2, I bet there's a chance that if I ever made $1 million a year, I would just get a little depressed. But if the process is just, I just ship some code every week, reach out to some cool companies every week, do a podcast every couple of months, that's just life. And you can just do that, find a schedule, and enjoy yourself. And that's basically it. That's all the advice I have on setting goals and picking metrics.